And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And here we are on a Tuesday with another fantastic show for you. You know what? We do our best to give you different shows every day, and we've got a magnificent one for you today. But first off, I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 97 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 70 degrees, which is still really nice if you think about it. But first off, I want to talk to you about some the show today. It's the same, we do the same kind of show every single day, Monday through Friday, but we have different guests and different topics that are going on. But we also always do what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and then we always do our news segment, that tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. And then on today's show, though, we're going to have a full segment with our own Sean Lefebvre in the Geared for Wellness Corner. We'll be talking about health care when Sean comes on a little bit later. But right now, I want to talk to you about the news, and we've encapsulated it. We picked the top 10 things that you should know about so you can talk to your friends, your peers, the people you work with or work for, and they'll know that you know what's going on in the news today. And right off the top, here are the 10 things that you need to know for Tuesday. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that are going to be talked about all day today, and probably all day tomorrow, too, for that matter. And the first up is from the Associated Press. The Islamic State group buried thousands in 72 mass graves. The known victims buried are staggering 5,200 at the very low end to more than 15,000 in territory that has been held by the Islamic State in Syria and Iraq. And a little bit later on in the show, I'm going to go to a little bit more in depth on that. That's just horrific. Anyway, Trump's deportation indecision highlights campaign weaknesses. The Republican presidential candidate and his aides used to say that voters didn't care about the nitty-gritty of policy details, but now those details are tripping up his campaign. He's going to actually have a big deal about this tomorrow on this policy, and how Americans know Huma Abedin. The longtime Hillary Clinton aide has won plaudits for her campaign instincts, her loyalty, and her personal style, but most know her as a wronged political wife. Yeah. And Brazilian president mounts a forceful defense. On what could prove to be her last day as president, Dilma Rousseff warned senators that ousting her would hurt a young democracy. And then Seattle proposes new rules for retail food service industries. Proposals would require the businesses to schedule shifts 2 weeks in advance and compensate employees for last-minute changes. Then Gene Wilder kept his serious side off camera. The young Frankenstein star was a humble man who downplayed his comic gifts, was a serious director, and remained deferential to Mel Brooks. We lost Gene Wilder on Sunday. What a terrific comic and actor he was. We'll talk more about that later, too. Well, Carolina's brace for storms. A tropical weather system off the coast of North Carolina's Outer Banks is expected to strengthen in the next day, bringing winds up to 45 miles an hour and heavy rains that could flood low-lying areas. Mother Nature is a little ticked off, I think. Well, who Vegas is now targeting? Sin City is eyeing the burgeoning Chinese tourist market with themed hotel casinos and non-stop flights from mainland China for the very first time. Chinese tourism to Vegas. Well, dogs use same parts of brain as humans to process language. Canines register that they are being praised only if the words and intonation match, lighting up both hemispheres of the brain, a study in the journal Science finds. And finally, Djokovic's right arm gives him trouble during the U.S. Open. The defending champion needed treatment from a trainer, but emerged with a 6-3, 5-7, 6-2, and 6-1 victory over Jerzy Janowicz of Poland. Well, you know what? Let's get into some of this more in-depth stuff. You heard me talking about the Islamic State earlier. They buried thousands in 72 mass graves. Well, you know, surrounded by smoke and flames, the sound of gunshots echoing around him, the young man crouched in the creek for hours listening to the men in his family die. On the other side of the mountain, another survivor peered through the binoculars as the handcuffed men of neighboring villages were shot and then buried by a waiting bulldozer. For 6 days, he watched as the extremists filled one grave after another with his friends and relatives. Between them, the two scenes of horror on Sinjar Mountain contain 6 burial sites and the bodies of more than 100 people. Just a small fraction of the mass graves Islamic State extremists have scattered across Iraq and Syria. In exclusive interviews, photos, and research, the Associated Press has documented and mapped 72 of the mass graves, the most comprehensive survey so far, with many more expected to be uncovered as the Islamic State group's territory shrinks. In Syria, the Associated Press has obtained locations for 17 mass graves, including one with the bodies of hundreds of members of a single tribe, all but exterminated when the IS extremists took over their region. For at least 16 of the Iraqi graves, most in territory too dangerous to excavate. Officials do not even guess the number of dead. In others, the estimates are based on memories of traumatized survivors. Islamic State propaganda and what can be gleaned from a cursory look at the earth. Wow. You know, still, even the known numbers of victims buried are staggering, from 5,200 to more than 15,000. Sinjar Mountain is dotted with mass graves, some in territory clawed back from the Islamic State after the group's onslaught against the Yazidi minority in August of 2014. Others in the deadly no man's land that is yet to be scoured. You know what? This is just too horrific to even talk about. These are just horrible, horrible things, and I just don't know what a person can even say about it, to be honest with you. It just is horrible. But you know what? There's some new tricks for dealing with old traffic. An elite athlete could run the 12 kilometers from Block M, the popular Modem shopping district in the south of Jakarta, to the Kuala, the old part of the city, just over 30 minutes if nothing was blocking her way, in the city that earned the dubious honor of having the worst traffic conditions in the world. However, it takes, even on a good day, an hour in a private car. Go figure, right? Yeah, unbelievable. Just crazy stuff. Well, suicidal Germanwings pilot had struggled in the U.S. Flight school. So you know what? I'm going to talk to you about that right after these brief messages. We've got to take a short break, and I'll tell you all about that struggling in the flight school right after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:12 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 97 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire and sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 70. We'll give you some of the temperatures around our syndicated world a little bit later on in the show. But right now, I want to get back to news, and we're going to talk about the suicidal Germanwings pilot who had struggled in the United States flight school. You know what? The German pilot who deliberately flew his airliner into a mountainside last year had struggled with learning to fly and had failed a key test of his skills during training in the United States, according to FBI interviews with his flight instructors. Andreas Lubwitz was promoted anyway, but his training difficulties were one more red flag that should have caused Lufthansa and the airline's Arizona Flight School to take a closer look and discover his history of depression, asserted anyway by attorneys representing families of the crash victims. Lubitz was a co-pilot for Germanwings, a regional airline owned by Lufthansa, when he locked Flight 9524's captain out of the cockpit and set the plane on a collision course with a mountain in the French Alps last year. All 144 passengers and 6 crew members, including Lubitz, were killed. One instructor, Jürgen Thierkorn, described Lubitz as not an ace pilot and said he failed one flight test because of a situational awareness issue. In aviation, loss of situational awareness usually means a pilot becomes absorbed in something and loses track of what else is happening with the plane. And then more and more instructors had more and more things to say. You would have thought that he would have been vetted out a lot better than he was when you consider the people that he was going to be responsible for. Anyway, here's one for you. The foundation is a big part of Bill Clinton's post-White House life. When Bill Clinton left the White House, he was popular but tainted by scandal, struggling to find his footing. He eventually channeled his energy into the global philanthropy that bears his name and is shaping so much of his post-presidential legacy. Now, he faces the prospect of walking away from the Clinton Foundation. He's promised to step down from the board if Hillary Clinton wins the White House in November, a commitment made amid swirling questions pushed along by Donald Trump about her ability to separate herself from the foundation's wealthy contributors at home and abroad. Well, for the Clintons, the decisions surrounding the foundation are the latest chapter in an unprecedented partnership, personal and political ambitions, while political spouses, Hillary Clinton among them, often put aside their own goals. Never before has that been required of a former president. Friends and associates of Bill Clinton has accepted that his role in the high-profile charity has to change, but he's also said to be deeply frustrated with the criticism that is shadowing his potential exit. We're trying to do good things. If there's something wrong with creating jobs and saving lives, I don't know what it is, he said last week. Mark Updegrove, the director of the Lyndon B. Johnson Presidential Library and author of Second Acts, Presidential Lives and Legacies After the White House, said that while the foundation has unquestionably done good work around the world, the president has no choice but to step aside if his wife wins the White House. Bill Clinton is smart enough to know that as much as the Clinton Foundation might help to augment his legacy, Hillary Clinton becoming presidency will be a far greater legacy than anything he himself can do as a former president. Updegrove actually said. You know what? I have mixed emotions about it. It's really kind of a sad deal. But, talking about Hillary Clinton, let's talk about the state Benghazi emails involving Clinton recovered by the FBI. Somebody misspoke the other day and said that these extra emails were coming out of WikiLeaks. They're not. The FBI actually discovered them. The State Department says about 30 emails that may be related to the 2012 attack on U.S. compounds in Benghazi, Libya, are among the thousands of Hillary Clinton emails recovered during the FBI's recently closed investigation into her use of a private server. Government lawyers told U.S. District Court Judge Amit Mintha Tuesday that an undetermined number of the emails among the 30 were not included in the 55,000 pages previously provided by Clinton. The State Department's lawyer said it would need until the end of September to review the emails and redact potentially classified information before they're released. Mehta questioned why it would take so long to release so few documents and urged that the process be sped up. He ordered the department to report to him in a week with more details about why the review process would take a full month. Yeah, you know what? It seems like one delay after another, right? There's just no end to it. Well, there are clashes subside in Syria between the Turkish and the Kurdish forces. Clashes between Turkey's military and Kurdish-backed Syrian forces subsided today, or this evening over there, after days of fighting between the two had frustrated efforts by the U.S.-led coalition to drive the Islamic State group from the northern Syria. Western officials have expressed their alarm that the fighting between the two sides, both backed by the U.S. in Syria's 5-year-old civil war, has diverted their attention from the fight against the extremist group. In a speech today, French President François Hollande criticized Turkey for targeting Kurdish and Kurdish-backed fighters in Syria, while a U.S. general ordered the sides to stop fighting one another and focus instead on the Islamic State. Yeah, that just makes sense. Well, listen, folks, we're going to take one more commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about the IRS loses. And the first case up today is transfers of property were not intended to evade tax. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:22 p.m. Pacific time. It's gone up a little bit. It's 100 degrees now. And now they're saying that the low is going to go up a little bit too to 72 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, you know what? It's 81 degrees and it's cleared. If you're in Chicago, Illinois, it is 83 degrees and mostly cloudy. Well, you know what? Let's get right to it. You want to hear it. I want to hear it. It's going to send the hair up on the back of your neck.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Yeah, here we are. The IRS loses. Just sends chills up and down your spine. That's the hair up on the back of your neck. Just a fun part of the show. So let's get right to it. The first case here, the IRS loses, is transfers of property were not meant to evade the tax. Let me tell you the story. David Jones owed back taxes to the IRS, and when he transferred a home he owned to his mother in a warehouse that he owned to a corporation he owned, 6 years later, he declared bankruptcy and sought to have this still unpaid taxes discharged. The IRS said that the transfers were an attempt to evade tax collection, making his taxes non-dischargeable. So he went to court to get some justice. This is what the judge said. Jones explained that he had purchased the house for his mother to live in and that she had in fact made all of the payments on it. Similarly, he had purchased the warehouse for his business's use and it always had been operated by the business. So the transfers did not have a tax avoidance purpose and his taxes are dischargeable, which they absolutely were. Here's another case for you. The IRS loses. A theft loss is deductible when it's reasonably certain you're going to have the loss. Here's the case. A couple was victimized by a jewelry scam that cost them several $1 million. Now, complicated lawsuits and insurance claims resulted, lasting several years. They claimed a theft loss deduction, but the IRS disallowed it, saying that the couple was entitled to no deduction until the year in which all of their reimbursements were resolved and that their loss recovery efforts had concluded. They protested. They went to court. This is what the judge said. The IRS is wrong. Yeah. A theft loss is deductible when reasonably certain. So the couple could take the deduction in proportions over multiple years as the probable outcome of their various reimbursement claims became apparent. Just makes sense, doesn't it? Sure it does. Let me give you one last one here the IRS loses. Driving to jobs away from home absolutely is deductible. You know it. I know it. Everybody should know it. The IRS apparently wanted to change the rules. Here's the case. David Lease was a union millwright in Cumberland, Maryland. He took daily job assignments from his union at distant locations, averaged about 100 miles a day driving to them, and deducted his driving costs. Here's the IRS's objection. Only driving to temporary jobs away from home is deductible, and one's tax home is one's primary work location. Since Lease didn't work in Cumberland, it wasn't his tax home, so he couldn't deduct driving from it to distant jobs. He went to court. This is what the judge said. Lease had long worked in Cumberland until jobs there grew scarce, and that made it his tax home. Each of the distant jobs that he traveled to was temporary, so his driving to them was absolutely deductible. Now, doesn't that just make sense? Shame on the IRS. They ought to be just ashamed of themselves. Well, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. That's where we're at right now with this segment that we call Inside the IRS. It's just a little bit like the Twilight Zone. Okay, now, these are not actual tax court cases, but these are positions that the IRS has taken and things that they've talked about that actually you could use to your benefit, especially if you had the knowledge that of what the position, easy for me to say, of the positions that they'd actually taken. You know, in this first issue here, consider the statute of limitations when the IRS proposes to assess additional tax. You know, the general rule is that the IRS must assess additional income tax within 3 years from the date of your personal income tax return being filed. Now, two important exceptions exist here. If you understated your gross income by more than 25%, then the IRS has 6 years to assess that tax. And if your original tax return claimed false deductions or you intentionally failed to report income, then there's no statute of limitations, which means that the IRS can make you pay the extra tax, interest, and penalties whenever it catches up with you. So you need to fight back. If the IRS claims that your tax return is false or fraudulent, it is the IRS's burden to prove that. Make the IRS meet its burden by, for instance, by example, that each item of income it claims you did not report was really income, not gifts or loans and the return of capital that is really not supposed to be income. And make the IRS prove that you failed to report the income fraudulently rather than because of an honest mistake on your part or an error on the part of your tax preparer. That happens more often than you would think. Well, how about this? Winning the lottery and paying income tax. You know, it seems that any number of lucky individuals who won millions of dollars in state-run lotteries acted recklessly when it came to paying tax on their winnings. Some lottery recipients have taken the tax position that they realized a tax-favored long-term capital gain when they sold their right to receive the future annual installments in return for a discounted lump sum payment. Various courts have ruled against the lottery winners by adopting the substitute for ordinary income doctrine, which says that capital gains treatment is not available for what would otherwise be reviewed or received as a future time as ordinary income. Yeah, go figure. Well, let me give you one more. When you owe the IRS money and you've lost your job, well, you know, the IRS does have the authority to place your tax debt in a currently non-collectible status. This eventually means that it'll not pursue collection activity. A levy on your bank account, or for instance, would be one of those things, because doing so would cause you to suffer financial hardship. For example, you'd not be able to pay the rent. If the IRS collection person does not agree to halt that collection effort, then request a collection due process hearing. You'll then have the opportunity to deal with a settlement officer in the appeals division who will reconsider these facts. While the CDP request is pending, the IRS will not take enforced collection action. And that's one of the things that's so very, very important to you. Make sure that you properly document your current financial position so that the settlement officer can justify a decision not to pursue collection action. You got to be honest. You got to be able to prove what your position is, and then you should get along with that pretty well. Now, do not go away, because waiting in the wings is our own Sean LaFay with his Geared for Wellness Corner. We'll be talking about healthcare items and God only knows what else with Sean from his office in Wichita, Kansas. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently, get this, 100 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 72 degrees, but there's no humidity here. If you're in Torrance, California on the beach, it's 82 and it's clear. Now let's talk about a different kind of weather. In Wichita, Kansas, it's 87 degrees and mostly cloudy. How is my little munchkin in Wichita doing?
Well, it's not just mostly cloudy. We've also been getting a little bit of rain, and it's muggy. And,
you don't sound happy, Sean.
No, not so much.
Not so much.
I just found my car had I had something in the back seat, and I looked down on the floor, and there was water down there. And I'm like, how in the world did water get on the floorboard behind the passenger's front seat and in front of course, the back seat? I'm sitting there, and I'm perplexed. I can't find any source. And so I did the wise thing, and I went online, which is where all of the answers of life are.
Wait a minute. Hang on a second. So you're sitting in the front seat. You're looking in the back seat of your car. You see some water on the floorboard of the back seat of your car. And so rather than try and figure it out, you do the wise thing and you go online?
Oh, I tried to figure it out. I looked and I thought, I can't figure out where this water's coming from. The door seal works. So
anybody ever tell you just roll up the window, or if you got electric windows, just push the up button?
Oh, I thought about that, but no way it can be coming through an open window. No, it was a significant amount of water. It wasn't like, it's a little wet. It was a lot wet, and apparently there's a.
Well, you didn't fall asleep and lose control, did you?
No, not this time. Yeah, so I did some research, and I found that there is a vent. That little tiny, if you call it a grill, I guess, right in front of the windshield. It's like right behind the hood of the car, but in front of the windshield. That's where the windshield wipers are. Yeah. There's that little kind of grills there where there's got a vent for bringing in air and stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a gasket seal on that thing, and everything that I looked at said when that gets dry rotted over time, eventually what happens is when it rains, it leaks, it gets in there. For some reason, I don't know why it does this, but the water that gets in there ends up on the floor in the back of the car.
How does it get from the front to the back and bypass the middle?
The only thing I could think of is you've got, the ventilation system that goes, on the dash and above your feet, which is below the dash. But then with this car, there's a ventilation that goes to the back of the car so the people in the back seat get air blown on them as well. And I'm guessing that gravity takes it to the least path of resistance and it follows it down to that and then comes out where that ventilation system is. So I got to stop I actually went and stopped and got the stuff I need to replace the gasket, but now I've got to take that apart, which is not a big deal. It's pretty easy. It's just take a couple panels off and remove the intake manifold, I guess, whatever it's called.
Sean, you have got to come back to California. You're becoming too much of a handyman out there.
Well, and that's the thing, is I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, why is this all of a sudden happening? It was my thought process, okay, why is it that all of a sudden I've got, and that's the way I am with everything. It's not just this car, it's whether I'm working on, something else around the house or even with people. If someone says, I got sick 15 years ago, my thought process is, okay, what happened in your life 15 years ago that all of a sudden you used to be a healthy person and now you're not healthy anymore, and it hasn't changed since. And so that's the way my mind always works, is I went, why now? What happened that all of a sudden? And of course, I'm here in Kansas where it rains on a regular basis, which is just ridiculous. All these farmers, I'm sure, appreciate it, but like, who wants rain, right? But I've been in California, and what does it rain? At least where I live on the coast, it rains like maybe 5 times a year.
Well, I just want to know if the animals are lining up 2 by 2, and why it is that who actually was on the ark? Noah, yeah. And I want to know why Noah didn't swat those 2 mosquitoes.
Yeah, I know, right? I asked myself the same question too. It's his fault that we still got to put up with those things. Yeah. Yep. And why did he forget the unicorn? Of all the creatures to leave behind, why did he let the unicorn not get on?
He got a little horny.
That one either. But yeah, there's actually a song about that. You ever heard the Irish Rovers? I'm not going to sing it for you, I promise. But there's a band. It's an old band from, I don't know, maybe the 60s. I don't remember when they're from, but it's called the Unicorn Song, and it talks about that. How Noah's marching the animals 2 by 2, and the unicorn's off and splashing and playing silly games, and about how the unicorn missed the Noah's Ark. And so there's actually a song about that. It's a pretty cute song. If you like Irish.
Well, I think your favorite song was "Yes, I Have No Bananas," right?
Yes, I have no bananas, and recently I think. Well, you know what? Speaking of music, I was going to go. I wanted to go see that Gary.
Allen. Gary Allen, you said.
Yeah, in concert on Friday. Well, it was sold out. We couldn't get tickets. The only tickets we could find, they wanted $100 for them, which isn't a big deal, but it was someone who was up in Olathe, Kansas, which is basically Kansas City, which is 3 hours from here. And then, first of all, you're on Craigslist. I don't trust you if you're 3 hours away. And two, I'm not going to drive 3 hours to go get tickets to go see a 2 hour long concert.
Well, actually, that would be 6 hours, 3 hours in each direction.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. 6 hour round trip. And but Gary Allen has a great song. It's called "Get Off on the Pain," and the basic line is, I don't know why, but I seem to just get off on the pain. I'm talking about all the stupid things that you do in life, and I think that kind of tends to be my theme song right now.
So you last week, last Thursday, actually it was last Tuesday, and then again last Thursday, and you still didn't get a chance to do it. You actually were going to talk about country music.
Well, yeah, that's because we started talking about Gary Allen, but then we ran out of time, I think.
Well, we were talking about George Strait a few weeks ago, and then all of a sudden it became Gary Allen last Thursday. And but I don't know if that what the heck are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about the flood in your car. It's going to be a national disaster area, right?
Yeah, I know. I don't know why, Obama hasn't come out and visited me like he did in Louisiana. I think maybe it's going to take him a week and a half to get out there like he did in Louisiana. But
whoa, Sean, whoa. I would love to let you get away with that because I how I feel about it. But the truth is, the governor of Louisiana asked Obama not to come right away because they needed emergency services to take care of the people and not the president.
Well, no, and I get that. I understand that he said that. And to me, it's one of two things. Either it's total political malarkey that they're just. He's like, hey, do me a favor, do a national press conference and tell them that you don't want me to come out so I can finish my vacation. Well, that's probably realistically what happened.
Well, that could be, but that's not what. But that's not what the governor said.
But let's say it's true. Of course, the governor's not going to come out and say, you know what, I'm going to actually make this story up so that Obama can keep golfing. But let's say that it's true. That's really why he didn't want him there. Well, if that's true for Obama, why wasn't it true for Bush? You know what I'm saying?
First of all, you're talking about two different times.
Different times.
No. But during Katrina, the FEMA had messed that up so bad, and people were dying, and people were starving, and they weren't getting any shelter. The president of the United States needed to go out there and straighten that out, and the director of FEMA, who he actually initially said did a good job, wound up getting fired. So I don't want to be defending Obama, but the truth is, I want the truth. And the truth is you don't manufacture what the circumstances were. George Bush went out there because the buck stopped with him, and he needed to fix that.
And he didn't need to go, and he did go out there and fix it.
Yeah.
But for him to go out there right away when they assumed the situation is underhand, is under control, then it's still a drain on the resources that they need to be using
Sure it is, and it was the wrong thing. It was the wrong thing. It was the wrong thing to do then, and it was the wrong thing to do now. I mean, can you imagine the total resources that are taken away from emergency services when the president shows up? You just can't even imagine what
you know what? I got an idea. You know, I was in Los Angeles, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and it wasn't even Obama. It was the vice president was coming through, Biden, of course, and I was on Santa Monica Boulevard, and all of a sudden I was heading westbound on Santa Monica Boulevard, and the eastbound lane was completely, all the lanes going east were completely empty, and the westbound lane was at a dead stop. And I swear there must have been 25 to 30 motorcycle cops. And what they did was they were going through, and they were blocking off side streets, making sure nobody could go on a turn lane. Whatever the case was, that you couldn't get onto that eastbound lane. And I mean, like I said, it was probably close to 30 motorcycle cops. And then here comes probably 15 regular cars, and then a couple SUVs, and then of course there's all the black cars and black SUVs and everything with the president, or I mean the vice president, his entourage. And as he passed, the motorcycle cops went past him to go block off the next. I mean, it was just there must have been 75 cops.
I can do you one better, buddy. But I'm going back a few years. It was when Lyndon Johnson was vice president of the United States with Kennedy, and I was learning to fly out of Long Beach Airport. I was doing touch and goes. You know what touch and goes are? You kind of touch down for a landing and take off again, and you're practicing your landing.
I'm super familiar with
they call them touch and goes. Well, I had touched down and I took off again, and as I was coming on my downwind leg, the tower calls and says, extend your downwind indefinitely. And I'm thinking, what? You know, and then
you're like, no, there's no indefinite when it comes to an airplane. There's got to be a point where
they shut down the doggone airport because radioing in is Lyndon Johnson on Air Force Two, landing at the what was then the McDonnell Douglas plant, where they were unveiling the new DC-10. That was way back then, and I was damn near in San Diego before they let me turn around on a base leg. I was a student pilot.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
That's scary. I mean, they just shut that place down right now.
Yeah, I would have found an alternate place to land.
Yeah.
To land and
Are you kidding? I was a student pilot. I couldn't have found another airport to save my soul at that time. I'd never been more than 10 miles away from the Long Beach airport.
How funny.
And I had to radio back and say, hey guys, please, I don't know where I'm at. You need to get me back.
Yeah, exactly. Just go turn around and then keep the land on the right side, keep the blue stuff on the left side, and you'll get there eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, are you finally all settled into your office?
Oh, yeah, I'm all settled in. Yeah. And
have you
staying busy?
Have you picked the theme music for the office? Is it country western music?
No, it's not. They've got a station out here called Bob FM, and they play
elevator music
at the office, and so it's not elevator music. It's a blend of like 70s, 80s, 90s music, a little maybe even some newer stuff, not much, but it's a little bit of like pop and rock, and nothing too hard, nothing too much rap or anything like that. But it's a blend of music from like probably about a 40-year span, and it's good music overall. I like it, but if it was, but sometimes when I get tired of it, I close my door and I do turn on country music.
Yeah. You know what? I like country music. I think it's terrific, and it's something that's unique to the United States. I think it is
very unique to the U.S. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's. I think it's
country music. It's funny. I was just reading an article that a friend of mine posted, and he said, if you like. If you're really into, traditional country music, this is a good article, which it really was. And a lot of people that don't know, of course, Merle Haggard, he's about as country as it gets. and he got tired of Nashville. You know, he basically told Nashville to go F yourself, and then he literally in those words. You know, I think his exact words were, you know, F this town, and he left and went out to the West Coast, and he became one of the West Coast country artists. You know, like the AMC, the American Music, was it AMC or CMA? No, I don't know. Anyway, AMC, American something like ACM, American Country Music Association. Something like that, anyway. But you know, it's funny. There's just quite a bit of a divide in country music. But you know, the traditional country music, you know, that group tends to really bond together really well. But this new stuff that they got out nowadays, I can't stand most of it.
Yeah, you know what? You know, the truth is that we grew up in an era, and I should say me, because you're much, much younger than me, but we grew up in an era where we had all different types of music, but it was all pretty doggone good.
Yeah. Oh, you know, I tell you, music in general was just, even, you know, rock music and all kinds of stuff has been, you know, traditionally just really well done up until the last, you know, 15 or so years.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, you know, but you know, I mean, you know, the old rock and roll, you know, like Jerry Lee Lewis, I mean, and Elvis Presley, and you know, Chuck Berry, and all those guys. You know, that was great, fun music. You know, and of course, country music was the same way. It was a little bit twangier back then, but even into the, you know, 60s and the 70s and the 80s, and even on into the 90s, you know, country music still stayed pretty true to itself. And you know, somewhere around about, you know, 15 years or so ago, they started experimenting with country music and doing, you know, different things that they hadn't done before, and that just kind of opened the doors. And then all of a sudden, you got rap blended in with your country music, and you get these guys now that, you know, they think that country music is singing music with kind of a sort of a country pop sort of rhythm, but then just sing about a pickup truck and a girl and the stars and driving down the dirt road. And for some reason, that seems to be the major theme of a lot of modern country music. I have no idea why we're talking about this on the show today, but you know, it's country music. The one thing that I've always enjoyed about it, and I know that people, you know, make fun of country music. They say, oh, you know, what happens when you play a country record backwards? You know, you get your dog back, you get your wife back, you get your truck back, you know, all those kind of things. But the you know, there's definitely lots of you know, cheating songs and you know, lost love and you know, hard times in life. Matter of fact, a lot of the country singers from years past, you know, a lot of them spent time in prison. You know?
Oh yeah. Johnny Cash, starting with Johnny Cash, had a big reputation for that. Merle Haggard had a big reputation with that.
Yeah, well, matter of fact, Johnny Cash, I can't remember if it was San Quentin, or I think it was San Quentin. I think when Johnny Cash did his first concert at San Quentin, Merle Haggard was actually in the audience.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, I mean, you know, George Jones, you know, he never went to prison, but you know, he got arrested for drunk driving, and he was a raging alcoholic. And,
guys had hard lives. Those guys led hard lives.
Yeah, they had hard lives, and a lot of them were alcoholics. And, you know, because you know, they had all that pain inside of them, and that pain came out in these songs, and it came out to, you know, these amazing stories. And I think that when it comes to country music, the thing that makes it awesome for me is you can sit and you can listen to it. It's like someone telling you a story. It's like sitting around and there's Grandpa, you know, or someone else.
How about? I mean, I can remember as a little kid watching this program before your time. It was called the Cliffy Stone Jamboree, and on there they had Hank Williams, Sr., not Junior, Hank Williams, singing all of his songs. And I mean, that was, you know, and just unbelievable stuff. I remember Spade Cooley, for God's sakes, and he was out of Bakersfield, California. He actually went to jail for beating his wife with a baseball bat to death.
Who was that was
Spade Cooley.
What was his name again?
Spade Cooley.
Yeah. Yep. I remember. I guess, you know, it's funny. I actually read about that. I wasn't real familiar with him, but I remember.
Well, you probably weren't even born yet.
No, I wasn't. I was definitely well. I mean, I've always listened to a lot of music from before my time, but he was well before my time. But you're right, he did. He went to prison for beating his wife to death with a baseball bat. And it's funny, you know, Bakersfield really put out a lot of quality country music. Matter of fact, Buck Owens, you know,
Buck Owens was from there. From
Dwight Yoakam is part of the Bakersfield scene. And,
Gary Owens, the announcer, was also from there.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Bakersfield is it's just a dirt hole out in the middle of that town. You're like how does a place like Bakersfield create all this amazing talent?
Yeah, be careful. We've got listeners in Bakersfield.
I've got family in Bakersfield.
Okay, I won't talk about Wichita if you don't talk bad about Bakersfield.
Oh, you can talk all you want about Wichita. I'm not here because this is a vacation destination.
Yeah. There was a lot of, there was just so much of that stuff that, Minnie Pearl was on that Cliffy Stone, that Jamboree thing, and so was Molly B., who was all during the same time as Hank Williams. Just amazing stuff that was going on. Tremendous talents that were going on.
Yeah, there really was a lot of talent, and it's been neat to watch country music evolve, but recently it's just, I don't know, to me it's taken a turn,
It's actually become more modern than country, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm a fan of Garth Brooks, but even Garth Brooks would step outside of country a little bit.
Yeah, Garth Brooks, it's funny, I was a huge fan of Garth Brooks for the first 10 years that he was on the scene. And for a lot of reasons, Garth Brooks really kind of turned me off. He did that, I don't know if you ever saw that album he did where he used a pseudonym, Chris Gaines was the name.
Oh, no, actually, I was at a concert of his when he announced that he was going to do that, and he hadn't actually done it yet. And I don't know that I actually heard any of that new thing, but I think he just wanted to convince himself that he could do it all over again.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to prove to people, look, I can do more than just country. But really, that's like, why would you need to prove that? You're so good at what you do.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why. And there's a lot of artists that want to do that, and some are successful, some not so much. But to me, when you're good at something, that's like if you were a world-renowned surgeon, you were one of the best heart surgeons in the world. You said, you know what? Instead of being a heart surgeon, now I'm going to go over and become, a jet engine mechanic just to prove that I can do it. You're really good at what you do, and you're doing good things for people. Don't quit. But he kind of went off on this weird path, and he at one point signed a deal with Walmart where the only place you could get his albums was through Walmart. And to me, I thought, why are you restricting your fan base?
Oh, yeah, and you still can't do. You can't go to the Apple Store and get any of his stuff. Anyway, we have got to take a short break. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 100 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Lisbon, Portugal, well, it's 64 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you happen to be in Hong Kong, it's 75 degrees and it's clear. But if you are in Wichita, Kansas, you might look out the window. You might see our own Sean LaFave. He's talking today about country music. Hey, Sean, you got the microphone, buddy.
Yeah, well, it's here. Where were we? Country music. We were talking about Buck Owens and Bakersfield and it's all the changes. But it's it is interesting how it's taking this turn, and I'm just not crazy about it. And you look at the people, and there have been people throughout all of country music that have tried to blend country music with different styles, and some have been successful for a short while, and it's been fun. Like someone might, like the Bellamy Brothers did that song that was, called Get Into Reggae Cowboy, and they have a little bit of a reggae beat to it. And a lot of guys have done stuff that kind of has a little bit of a beach feel to it, beach country music and so on. But it never lasts, I mean, if you look at someone who's been around for decades, you think of someone like George Strait, he's been around since the 80s, and he's he may have even started, I think, in the late 70s.
I don't think he ever betrayed country music.
No, and that's just it. He's always been true to real country style of music. And he has more number one hits than any artist on the face of the planet of all genre.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yep. Well, George Strait has the most number one hits of all artists and all genre. And actually, the funny thing is, number two is Conway Twitty.
Well, you know what? I'm a big Conway Twitty fan. That man is an entertainer. He is really good.
He was amazing, and he could just and George Strait was along the same lines. Alan Jackson was another one like that. They would just sing these songs that would just get right to your heart.
Yeah.
And just pull on those little heartstrings, and they could just stand there on stage and just sing, and that's it. They didn't have to swing from ropes, or there didn't have to be any fire in the background or smoke or all this. In fact, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about that movie Pure Country, where he kind of rejected that. Yeah.
Do you remember Charlie Pride?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Of course.
Man. Yeah. Just these guys, just unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, Charlie Pride was, I'm trying to think, I don't know if he was the first, but maybe the first black man to ever make it really big in the country.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that, but I wasn't sure either. But I think he was the first black country, popular at least, country western singer.
Popular, yeah. Yeah, and we had, of course, most recently...
Charlie Rich?
Well, Charlie Rich was, he wasn't black, though.
No. Yeah.
What's the guy that's oh my gosh, I can't even think of his name all of a sudden. He sang that song Wagon Wheel. It's so popular.
I don't know.
Anyway, anyway, we got it. Gosh, now it's killing me that I can't think of his name, because he's actually a crossover from pop music. Let me look it up because it's going to kill me if I don't.
Well, why you're looking it up?
Darius Rucker, that's who it is. Darius Rucker is his name, and he just came on the scene. He came over from music crossover from pop music, and he's done a great job. He's one that went from one genre of music over to country and has done a really good job at it.
Well, you know what? I hate to tell you this, but you talk about crossover from country to rock and roll via rockabilly. Elvis Presley was the guy that took us there.
Yeah.
He started a country singer, then he became rockabilly, and then he became rock and roll. He became the king of rock and roll.
Yep, exactly, and same with Buddy Holly. He started out in the country too.
Yeah, Buddy Holly. God, what a great entertainer. The unfortunate thing is I'm old enough to remember these guys when they were famous.
Mm-hmm.
Richie Valens, the Big Bopper, the Big Bopper.
Hello, baby.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Yep, saw the movie. Didn't get to ever see those guys live, but that was definitely before my time. But I did see the movie, and boy, that was a great movie.
Was that the Buddy Holly story?
The Buddy Holly story.
Yeah, wasn't that fantastic? I mean,
that was a really well. Boy, Gary Busey wasn't that who played Buddy Holly? And he just did a fantastic job in that movie, and it was just an amazing story. But and that's good. You get a lot of crossover, and I enjoy all that. But the people who are true to country music, they stick around. They're around for years and years, decades.
Oh, yeah.
That Alan Jackson, Clint Black's another one that was around for a long time. And
Dolly Parton hasn't steered away from country music.
Oh no, she's always been true to country, and
Anne Murray.
Anne Murray was another one that was great. Randy Travis.
Randy Travis was fantastic.
He was amazing because he was just enough edgy to where he was kind of almost paved the way for the new generation.
Did you know that Randy Travis had a serious stutter? And he had a difficult time communicating, but he did not stutter when he sang. And he had a magnificent voice.
Well, Mel Tillis, I saw him in concert when I was a kid, and he always stuttered. I don't know if he ever overcame his stutter, but when he sings, of course, he didn't stutter at all. But he's got a pretty. I don't know if you ever saw that movie Cannonball Run.
Yes,
he was in that. And he stuttered, and that wasn't him trying to be funny. That's just who he was. And when he was on stage and he tried to say something, and he'd he couldn't get the word out. The band would finally say the word for him, and of course it was funny. But he had a pretty significant stutter. Mel Tillis did, and he was another one that was true to country music. And I think a lot of these guys, I'm sure they get burned out easy, and I look at people, and I try not to like someone like Garth Brooks. I'm just not really a big fan of his anymore. And we were talking about how he kind of went off and did his thing where you can't get him at iTunes. He's not on YouTube.
Yeah.
He's for a while you can only get his stuff at Walmart and on and on and on. And then he retired, and then he decided he was going to come out of retirement, and he went back in retirement, and then now he only does shows out in Vegas if you want to go see him live. And my thought process was, you kind of cut off the people who made you who you are.
Yeah, and that's and that's a real shame. I've actually been lucky enough to see Garth Brooks 3 times in concert. The guy he is a showman. He is an entertainer. But you know what? There's no question. At first, he was doing it because it was his life. He loved it. He wanted to be successful. When he became successful, he kind of forgot about the fans, I think.
And I think that's one of the things that really turned me off about him was, he started getting a little too edgy on his music and getting a little too pop into his country, and I remember I saw a concert of a video recording of him in concert, and I just went, if that's how he is nowadays in concert, I don't want to go see him. And I unfortunately I never did get to see him, but back in the early 90s. I was living in Colorado Springs, and I had a chance to go see him, and this was before, of course, you could buy tickets online and everything, and I stood in line for over 4 hours to get tickets, and I didn't even make it to the front door,
Wow.
Yeah. So I was, in fact, I had this girlfriend at the time. I was going to surprise her with tickets. I didn't tell her what I was doing. I was just going to come home and go, hey, look what I got. I was going to surprise her, but I didn't even make it to the front door. It was sold out within, I want to say, and this is, when things weren't even digital. I want to say It was sold out in like 30 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, his tickets were tough to get, but he was in his heyday though. I mean, he was, one of the greatest songs in my opinion ever made is, The Dance by Garth Brooks. It's just, and again, it's one of those country songs that it's got deep meaning to it. It's something that you can listen to and everyone can relate to the lyrics and go, you know what? Of course the main gist of it is, I could have, avoided the pain, but I would have also had to, miss the dance as well, kind of thing. And so, that's the kind of the thing in life. Sometimes, if you want to risk, you're going to have to risk pain as well as the pleasure. And that's really what that song is about.
Let's go in a little bit of a different direction, because all of the people, certainly there are some exceptions to the people we talked about, but all of the big majority of the people that were talked about, I don't think Garth Brooks is one of them. I don't think Anne Marie is one of them, but certainly Hank Williams Sr., Hank Williams Jr., absolutely, and Spade Cooley and all these guys, they had serious abuse problems, whether it be alcohol or drugs or I mean, all of them had serious problems.
Yeah, drugs and alcohol were huge. Another one that's, he was just amazing was Keith Whitley. Remember him? I remember when Keith Whitley died, and it was funny because he was 33 years old, and he was a huge star in country music. Yeah. And just, he was just so amazing. He was married to Lori Morgan, and he basically died of, overdose from alcohol. He just drank himself.
Isn't it amazing that you get this success and you lose control, and all of a sudden, it's sort of like you're throwing all that success in a trash can. Your fans are just hoping and praying that you'll straighten yourself out, and a lot of groups did, a lot of bands did, and people did. But the truth is, they're hoping and praying that you're going to straighten yourself out, and you never do, and you wind up listening or watching the newspaper or listening to the news, and they're dead, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's happened a lot. And of course, country music. You look at Merle Haggard before as he got older. When you look at him before when he was younger, he was a clean cut, good looking guy. Great voice. But boy, he got old, and he got all as his name implies. Haggard.
Yeah, he looked haggard.
He looked haggard. He was a haggard-looking Haggard, but he just looked old and worn out.
Well, look at Willie Nelson. Look at Willie Nelson. I can't remember Willie Nelson ever looking good.
Well, if you look at the old black and white videos of him, when he was young and he was clean cut, no beard, he was clean shaven, and he was a good looking man, but that didn't, he wore a suit and the whole bit, he was just like your typical country singer back in the, the 50s that wore a suit and tie and he was clean cut and good looking, but yeah, boy, he was another one that got into the party scene. Hell, even, Hank Jr. wrote a song about that. All my rowdy friends have settled down. Nobody wants to get high and get drunk up in town and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, there was, country music was known for that. They were a bunch of partiers, but a lot of it really stemmed from the fact that, a lot of those great, amazing lyrics came from just an immense amount of pain that these guys are going.
Yeah.
It's George Jones. His highlight of his career was 1980. He came out with that song "He Stopped Loving Her Today," which it's so funny. This past weekend we were out watching a guy sing. I was talking about that. I wasn't going to go to this concert. We ended up going seeing a friend of a friend sing, and this has an amazing voice, and he sang a wide range of songs, and one of the ones that he sang, I said, hey, can you sing this, can you sing that? I'm making all these requests, and so he sang He Stopped Loving Her Today by George Jones, and I said, I remember the first, because I grew up with that music, and I remember I knew the words of that song inside and out, I could sing it without even playing it. And one day I was singing it, and all of a sudden I went, it just clicked. And I went, oh my gosh, I know what this song's about. And it was really sad. I thought, this is terrible. It's a song about, you think it's about his woman, left him. It's a typical country song, what most people think of. that she just left, and she left all the stuff behind. Well, the song, of course, for those who don't listen to country music, I'll ruin it for you now. But the song is about, what he's actually saying is that his wife was pregnant and she died while she was pregnant with their baby. And that's really what that song is about. And it was his greatest hit. And at that time, he was married to Tammy Wynette. He went through a divorce, and he ended up admitting himself into a rehab center for drug and alcohol abuse. And I mean, the time of his year, the time of his life, the same year that his career hit its peak, his personal life hit an all-time low. And it's funny though, country music, really did come from a lot of pain, but there's just some amazing stories that come out of that, and you just listen to these stories, and I think that's what's missing. In fact, I made the joke with someone. I was talking to someone. I said, the problem with country music is we don't have enough alcoholics and ex-convicts anymore.
Yeah.
But it's kind of true, because now the songs are just fun. Which I like fun, but I don't want all the songs to be fun. I want to have some deep meaning. I want to be able to listen to this and go, this has some really good meaning. Like, anyone can relate to this.
Do you remember Mac Davis?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I saw him in concert. What a phenomenal entertainer. These guys have got more talent in their little fingers than you could hope to ever gather in a lifetime. But he just disappeared. Is he alive? Do you know?
Yeah. He had that song. What was that song? Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. Yeah. But you're right. He was huge on the scene, and I mean, he sang a lot of great songs, and he was wonderful music, and like you said, super talented. And
he even had his own television show, and then he just disappeared.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't know if these guys just go, I can't take any more. I'm just going to take my money and go.
Or maybe that's what it is. Maybe, hey, you know what? I got enough money now. I can live the rest of my life, and I don't have to work like this.
Yeah, and that could very well be it. I don't know if they get burned out or what. I'm sure it's easy to get burned out in an industry like that. The fans don't care if you're burned out. Your producer and the record producers and everyone else, all they care about is the bottom dollar, and making money. And a lot of these guys, I'm sure they probably just get completely fried.
Yeah,
but just like the movie industry. But
the entertainment industry, whether it be country music or rock or movies or whatever it might be, the entertainment business in general, there are very, very few exceptions, are brutal for relationships, either artist-fan relationships or artist-spouse relationships. Just brutal.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being in that. I wouldn't want that life. You grow up, you admire these amazing actors and actresses, and you think to yourself, wow, boy, it'd be great to be like that someday. And then you grow up and you go, I don't know that I want that life. It's just, I wouldn't mind having some of that money, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to be that where no matter where you go, your people are going to be asking for your autograph. They're going to be taking your picture, and you're like, I just want to be myself. Like, get away from me.
Yeah, I mean, where on earth can a Tom Hanks go?
Yeah,
except a private place, right? And his wife, and his wife. It's just there's no place he can go.
Yeah, and of course, living where I live, you see famous people all the time, and you just kind of the understanding that there's always going to be the person who's going to go up and ask for an autograph or a picture or whatever. But but the kind of understanding is, leave them alone. It's so funny when I was living here in Wichita. I was with the Air Force Reserve, and we had flown out to March Air Force Base out there in Riverside and rented a car, and we drove into Santa Monica, and we were on 3rd Street in Santa Monica, and we were sitting outside of this little cafe having like some coffee and a bite to eat and just enjoying the day. And my buddy sitting next to me, he looks over and he goes, wow, that guy's really tall. And I look over and I said, dude, do you know who that is? He goes, no, I'm like, that's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, man.
Oh, I met Kareem. We're going to take a break, but I was flying back home from Seattle, and I couldn't get to the Ontario airport, so I landed in L.A., and I went to the Hertz counter to rent a car, and who's there? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He was Lou Alcindor then. You know, but boy, you want to talk about big. And I remember one time I was in Salt Lake City. I was coming down staying in this place called the Little America Hotel. Famous hotel back then, and I'm coming down the elevator, and it stops before we get to the lobby, and this guy gets on, and when he gets on, I'm looking right at this guy's belly button, and I'm thinking, what on earth? Well, the Los Angeles Lakers were playing the Jazz, and it was why can't I think of his name? Doggone it. Oh shoot! I just went blank. Oh my goodness. He got the AIDS bug, and he had to retire, and he went back, and he did all these things. Why can't I think of his name?
I'm not a sports.
Oh man! You'd know it. You'd know it in a heartbeat. He was just.
You'll remember it during this break from message from our sponsors. During that time, you'll remember it.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness corner, or the country corner. We'll be right, whatever the heck it is. We'll be right back with Sean after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400 4900, or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's starting to go down finally. It's 98 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's down from 101 on its way down to 73. That keeps climbing a little bit. But if you're listening to us on a syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, well, you know what? It's 66 degrees and it's clear. And if you're in Rome, Italy, it's 72 degrees and it's also clear. And if you're in Wichita, Kansas, and you're wondering who the belly button was I recognized in Salt Lake City when they were going to play the Jazz, well, that was Magic Johnson.
I got a text message from Sally. Said Magic Johnson.
Yep, that's
she knows more about this stuff than we do.
Yep, Sally's absolutely right. It was Magic Johnson. I mean, and I'm not the smallest guy in the world, but these guys are big. These guys are really tall.
Yeah, it is amazing. You know, you watch them out there playing, and because they're not, most of them aren't real skinny. You know, you think it's all people. So they look, height, weight, proportionate, as you say. But boy, when you see them in person, you're just like, wow, what a monster! They're just they're huge. Huge.
Yeah, unbelievable. These guys are just really big. I actually met Kobe Bryant one time. So I was at the Napa Rose, which is a magnificent hotel or a restaurant, a gourmet restaurant out at Disney. Yeah, absolutely. And I went in there with my my two grandchildren, my wife and myself, and we sat down. And Kobe comes in, and he was with two kids, his own two kids, and sat down. And nobody bothered him, and I certainly wasn't going to bother him. But my grandson was a big fan. So I got the head maitre d' is a good friend of mine there, and I asked him. I said, "Do you think it would be possible to get a autograph from Kobe for Jake?" And he says, "Oh, better than that. Let me, Jake, come on with me." And so I said, "I'm not letting him go by himself." So I went with him, and he was the nicest man, and he gave Jake an autograph and introduced us to his kids, and we only spent just a brief moment with him, but just a nice fellow.
Yeah, I've heard that he's a classy dude, Kobe Bryant. I've heard good things about him.
Yeah.
But it is neat when you meet someone that, is famous, because you really don't know. You hear, whatever, you see stuff in the news, and you just don't know. But when you meet someone who's really famous like that, and you find out, this is just a really good person, it's kind of heartwarming to know. It's nice to know there's someone out there who's made it big and is still, down to earth. In fact, my best friend here in Wichita, his name is Craig Boynton. He's a dentist, and that's what this guy is. You talk about someone who's successful in his own career. He's just amazing. He's unbelievable. He's so cutting edge. And I've never met a better dentist. He's just amazing at what he does. But just a good guy. But he lived in Hawaii for quite a few years and went to college out there, I think, for a couple of those years. And he was a waiter at a restaurant out there called Roy's. They actually have them in California.
Oh yeah, Roy's has got they've got a big chain now.
But they got matter of fact, I've been to the one in Pasadena. That's really nice.
Yeah.
But he was a waiter out there, and back when Tom Selleck, this was back in like the late '80s, early '90s time frame, and Tom Selleck was real big on the scene. I think it was during Hawaii 5-0 or something like that.
No. He was doing. It wasn't Hawaii 5-0. He was doing. The investigator thing.
Magnum PI. I'm sorry, Magnum PI.
Yeah, Magnum PI. Right. Yeah, Magnum PI. Yeah.
I get my shows mixed up.
Yeah.
But anyway, I remember Tom Selleck. He said Tom Selleck would come into Roy's on a regular basis, and he was Tom Selleck's waiter many times, and he said he was the nicest guy. He would always treat you very politely. He was never arrogant, never pompous or anything like that. Just a wonderful person who treated everybody with respect, was very polite in the way that he spoke. And he said the one thing that I'll never forget, it didn't matter who his waiter or waitress was, he would order a bottle of wine. He would drink 3 glasses out of the wine. He would put the cork back in it, and he would give the rest of it. And he goes, he would order nice bottles of wine.
Sure.
Obviously, he had money. And he would take leave enough for 1 full glass of wine left in the bottle, put the cork back in it, and give the bottle of wine to the waiter to take home to have a glass of wine when the waiter got home from work that night.
Oh, how nice.
And he goes, he did that every single time he came in. He goes, he was just a nice guy, and it is neat when you meet people that have made it big and they're just wonderful. So I've met a few, nobody super like no Magic Johnsons or anything like that. But I met Tracy Byrd one time. I don't know if I ever told you about that.
No, you didn't.
Speaking of country singers. This was just a few years ago. I was actually at a fundraiser for Make-A-Wish Foundation, actually with my buddy Craig, the one I was just talking about. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea. He says, hey, Sean, we're going to this fundraiser for Make-A-Wish Foundation. You want to go? And I said, yeah, sure, sounds great. Let's have a good time. And what I didn't know was they were going to do a concert afterwards. It was going to be not just a dinner, but there was going to be a full concert and everything. And so I'm standing there talking to this couple that I had met, and this dude in a black cowboy hat walks by me, and I go, that's Tracy Byrd. I didn't even know he was going to be there. I go, that's Tracy Byrd. And I don't know if it was a manager or whoever it was that was walking behind him, tapped him on the shoulder and kind of pointed back towards us and said a couple words to him. And he turned around and he came over and he introduced himself and he says, hi, I'm Tracy Byrd. I said, yeah, I know who you are. Nice to meet you. And he sat and talked with us for about probably a good 5 minutes or more. And he was just the nicest guy, just like another one of the dudes,
this is gonna be a time when we're gonna be telling those kind of stories. I was at Gulliver's across from the Orange County Airport. You know where it's at. It's a prime rib restaurant. And I was sitting there and I was with a client and I was having lunch there. In Gulliver's, it's kind of a weird setup. Anyway, in comes this entourage. Must have been 8-10 people, something like that. And this fella sits right across from. I'm staring right at him. I can't help but look at him. He's right there, and he's at the head of the table. And I look at the guy I'm having lunch with, and I says, Jesus, isn't that John Wayne? And he turns around, looks me right in the eye, and says, sure am, son. He says, would you like to join me? Would you like to join us over here? And I said, no, sir, I couldn't do that. I wouldn't. He says, I don't know any of these damn people here anyway. That was the night that he got the Oscar for True Grit.
Wow, that's amazing. There's no way I would not have sat with him. If you'd offered me to come sit at this table, I'd say, yes, sir, I'll be right there.
Well, somebody was going to have to leave for me to sit down. I mean, it was a full table. I'll tell you, and one last one, and then I'll let you talk. I had a pilot's license, and I used to fly around different places, and I had flown into Palm Springs, and they have what they call public parking for the planes, and so they got these little trucks that says "Follow me," and I follow, and finally they stop, and that's where you park, right? And I got the plane parked. I got it all shut down. I'm the whole 9 yards. And this guy comes running out of the FBO, and he says, "You got to move your plane. You got to move your plane right now, right now." I said, "What the heck? Hey, don't worry about it. Not a problem." So I get the tow bar and I move the plane. I get it all locked back up again, and right where I was parked, this big Learjet comes in parks. Now I'm walking back into the building, and I'm about halfway there, and this guy said, "Hey, sorry for the inconvenience, kid." I turn around, it's Frank Sinatra, and his limo's there, FAS1 to pick him up. It's Frank Sinatra, and I thought, holy cow, no problem. Later that evening, I'm having dinner at this nightclub in Palm Springs. I didn't realize it, but it's one that he at the time actually owned. It was called Jilly's. And so I had a few drinks and dinner, and had to use the men's room. So I went into the men's room, and I'm standing there in the urinal, right? And there's this guy next to me, and he looks over to me and he says, "Hey, kid, you following me? It's Sinatra." I couldn't believe it, and he remembered me from earlier in the day. So
that's funny.
So okay, so those are I'm done with stories. I don't know why I keep coming up with these things, but
because they're great. That's why. It's nothing to do with our show whatsoever, but they're great stories.
Yeah.
So, since we're on that theme, I'll just go ahead and stick with it. So I was a few years ago. I was deployed overseas. I was in United Arab Emirates with the Air Force, and I sit down for lunch at they got like kind of like all the tables, like picnic style tables, and I sit down for lunch and I was told that we had this comedian who I had no clue who he was, which is terrible because he's really popular. You know who George Lopez is?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so yeah, and this is when he had his own show, which I don't know if he still does or not, but he had his own show and everything. In fact, when I came home and told my son about it, he's like, "What?" So he sits across from me. And he introduces himself, and I said, "Hi." I said, "I'm Sean. Nice to meet you." I said, I really apologize. I said, I don't really know who you are, but I said, I heard you have your own TV show. I said, that's really fantastic. I said, what's your show about? And so he tells me a little bit about his TV show. And I said, I really apologize. I said, I really don't watch TV hardly ever, so I'm kind of not up on this stuff. And then I made the comment. Of course, now at this point the table's full. All these people, and they're probably all looking at me like, "You're an idiot. Shut up, Sean." And so I look at him and I said, well, that's awesome. I said, I'm really kind of out of touch with this stuff. I said, matter of fact, and this was true because he had come to Turkey when I was deployed over in Turkey. He had come, not George Lopez, this other comedian, had come and did a stand-up routine there. And I says to George Lopez, I said, to be honest with you, I said, the last comedian that I ever saw in person was Rich Little.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, true story. This was only like a year or two before, not long ago, like a year and a half before that. And he looks at me and goes, "Rich Little?" He goes, "How old are you?" I really want to say the word. I can't because it was funny.
No. Don't. Please don't.
Yeah. He goes, "How old are you?" He goes, "What did you fight in the Civil War?" He's like, because and he just goes off on this. Of course, he's George Lopez. He's a comedian. That's what he does for a living. Sure. And of course, now everybody's laughing because it was really funny. But he's like, "Yeah, how old are you? What did you fight in the Civil War?" Like, Rich Little. He's like, who even knows who that guy is anymore? And Rich Little was really funny. He was hilarious.
Oh, he was really funny. Yeah.
Oh, he was just amazing.
And George Lopez is too. I mean, I've seen his show.
Oh, yeah. No, and I have since seen his show, and I'd actually watched it because my son says, "Oh, Dad, it's really funny. You got to watch it." So I watched it a few times with my son, and it really is a funny show. But he was a nice guy. I mean, you could tell like he didn't care that I didn't know who he was, but he was going to have fun. At least, and he was just a neat guy, and it is great when you meet someone who's reached that level, and they're just fun to talk to, and kind of realize, they're just people, just like the rest of us. They've got their own issues. So,
yeah. You know what? And generally nice people. If you just give them respect and respect their time, and generally they're just really, really super nice people. The majority of them. I've met so many celebrities in my life accidentally that we could spend a show talking about different celebrities, you and I, probably both of us, these little incidental things that were going on. So, unbelievable things. Anyway, unfortunately, my friend, we appear to be at that time of the show again.
It just that happens every single show. It seems like. You
owe me a lot of hours, man, because you just steal them. You just steal them away. And at least we talked about some health issues with the drugs and alcohol today.
Yeah, exactly. At least we talked about alcohol and drug abuse, so that's got to be something with health.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen. So, what are we going to talk about on Thursday?
You know what? I'm on day 3. Matter of fact, I've got to go do my push-ups here after the show. I was going to do them this evening. But I was there's how every now and then, like on Facebook or something, they'll do a challenge, and so I'm on this push-up challenge. I've got to do 22 push-ups for 22 days in a row, and it's to raise awareness for the fact that we have 22 veterans in the United States every day on average, of course, but every day on average, 22 American veterans commit suicide.
Okay, that's what we're talking. That's what we're talking about on Thursday.
We're going to talk about that, and just really the whole systemic problem of that, not just the veterans, but just in general. But we'll definitely talk about the veterans as well. But we'll talk about that when we come back on Thursday.
All right, sounds good to me. In the meantime, have a terrific week. Make yourself happy. Make everybody around you happy. Make everybody glad that they know you.
I'll do that. You do the same, Robert. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care. And the rest of you folks, do not go away, because when we come back, we'll be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. And then we'll follow that up with our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Don't go away. We got a lot of great show left for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. And if you are listening to us on our, matter of fact, you know what? It's 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 98 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're listening to us on our syndicated global network and you're in London, England, you know what? It's 64 degrees and clear, and Vienna, Austria is 59 degrees and clear. Couldn't hardly see that doggone thing. Don't know what's going on with it. Anyway, let's get to our Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is to build resilience, write down what you're grateful for. Yeah, you heard me. When it comes to building your emotional resilience, nothing does more good than maintaining a positive outlook and regularly expressing gratitude. These two actions have been shown to decrease anxiety, reduce symptoms of illness, and improve the quality of your sleep. But it's not enough to be optimistic and say thank you a lot. You can increase the effect of these activities by keeping a record of your positive interactions and events and memories too. Maintain a simple list of things that you're grateful for or are looking forward to in a paper notebook, or enter them into a spreadsheet. There are even digital gratitude journals that you can download and use. Find a regular time, say first thing in the morning or at the end of the workday, to review and add to these records. Studies have shown that doing so builds your resilience. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? And that leads me to the next issue, and that's the secret daily teaching for your life. We were just talking about a positive mental attitude. I believe in positive mental attitudes, and I believe that you control your life and everything in it. I believe that you decide if you're going to be happy, sad, rich, poor, successful, or a failure. Whether the people around you are going to be happy as well. You decide all those things, and you do it every single morning. When you open your eyes, you get out of bed, and you look in that mirror. That's when you got to say, wow, I'm going to have a fantastic day. It's going to be profitable. It's going to be productive. And that's where it starts. And if you can maintain that, you'd be just amazed at what your life would be like. You know what? The lesson for today is think thoughts of perfection. Illness cannot exist in a body that has harmonious thoughts. Know that there is only perfection. And as you observe perfection, you must summon that to you. Imperfect thoughts are the cause of all humanity's ills, including disease, poverty, and unhappiness. When you think negative thoughts, we are cutting ourselves off from our rightful heritage. Declare and intend, I think perfect thoughts. I see only perfection. I am perfection. I'm telling you, a positive mental attitude. It works. It works for everybody. You just got to do it. Well, you know what today is? Sure you do. Today is Tuesday. It's August the 30th, and it is somebody's birthday. Well, we have 3 birthdays for today, and I think you're going to know all of them, as a matter of fact. The first one is a fellow that born in 1930, a notable philanthropist who pledged to give away 85% of his fortune to the Gates Foundation. Happy birthday, Warren Buffett. And here's a young lady born in 1972, an actress and former model who broke out in the 1990s. Happy birthday, Cameron Diaz. Boy, what a pretty girl. And then, born in 1982, professional tennis player and the top-ranked American player, and he is ranked 5th in the entire world. Happy birthday, Andy Roddick. Yeah. Well, you ever wonder about what was going on in history today? Well, I'm going to tell you. On August the 30th, 1956, Lake Pontchartrain Causeway finally opens. And in 1963, the hotline between the United States and the Soviet leaders goes into operation. That's when it happened, 1963, in the Kennedy years. And then finally, in 1967, Thurgood Marshall is confirmed as the very first African-American justice of the United States Supreme Court. Yeah. Well, you know what? Our quote for today comes from Robert Frost, a poet laureate. He said, I never dared to be radical when young for fear it would make me conservative when I was old. That unfortunately makes a lot of sense. Well, let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. We got a number of them. I'm never going to run out, I promise you. Here's the deal. The word America comes from the European explorer Amerigo Vespucci. Yeah, the actual founder of America. Did you know it wasn't Christopher Columbus, as we all think. Of all the world's peoples, the only one known not to use fire are the Andaman islanders and the pygmies. They didn't use fire. That's kind of a scary thought if you think about it. How about this? The American Film Institute has named composer John Williams' score for Star Wars as the greatest film score of all time. Can you imagine? Yeah, absolutely. Well, try this one on for size. Did you know that 53% of high school grads and 27% of college grads get most of their information from television? Now, there is a scary thought. And here's a lighter thing. Hummingbirds are the only creatures that can fly backwards. Boy, you ever watch them? They're amazing. They're just amazing. You know. How about this? Did you know that Alexander the Great was tutored by Aristotle? No wonder he was so great. And the most senior crayon maker, Emerson Moser, retired after making 1.4 billion crayons for Crayola. It was then that he revealed that he was actually, you got it, colorblind. Go figure. Yeah. And, according to the Population Council, people overwhelmingly tend to marry partners who live near them. Well, I can tell you, I married a gal that only lived about 5 miles from me. That was kind of interesting, if you think about it. And I married her over 51 years ago. And we were boyfriend and girlfriend for 2 or 3 years before that. So give it a thought. How about this? Did you know that Tibetans drink tea made of salt and rancid yak butter? Ugh. I don't think so. Try this one on for size. Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires, means good air. Makes sense? Well, let me leave you with this one. In World War II, the United States military planned to airdrop over France propaganda in the form of Playboy magazine, with coded messages hidden in the models, turn-ons and turn-offs. The plan was scrapped because of a staple shortage due to rationing of metal. Go figure. I'm going to leave you with that one. In any event, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey. The story today is The Sting. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back, folks, after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7300. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:53 p.m. Pacific time. It's 98 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in Madrid, Spain, well, it's 79 degrees and it is clear. And if you're in Tokyo, Japan, it's 84 degrees and it is sunny. It's fantastic. But you know what? Let's get right to our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey. Yes, sir. You know what? Paul Harvey actually was the biggest and best voice in America. He reveals the startling heartbeats behind the headlines. A great storyteller. Paul Harvey is one of America's favorite radio and TV commentators. Heard over 775 ABC radio stations and over 400 foreign stations. Seen on 110 television stations and read in 300 newspapers. Recipient of numerous awards and honors, including 9 honorary degrees. He's on the Gallup Polls list of America's most admired men. And Paul's story for today is the sting. Yep. Well, you know what? Not many years ago, the ultimate put down was plastic. College-agers clamored about plastic people and homeowners moaned over plastic paneling. If it was plastic, it wasn't real. It's taken us a while, but we're all coming to know just how real plastic can be. The handsome, super hard finishes, the once breakable, now unbreakable. The industry itself would never have been born were it not for the myriad shortages that demanded it. Frequently, lack of something leads to something else more important than the original. It was ever true. There was a fabric shortage in the 18th century, and in the process of resolving that need, the whole world was changed. René Antoine Verscholt de Reaumur, you may or may not have ever heard of him. He was one of those fellows whose discoveries and accomplishments meant more to fellow scientists than to ordinary folks. For example, he invented a thermometer that's still used in biochemistry experiments. Few of us have ever seen one. The son of a judge, Reaumur's first intentions were to study law. After 2 years in law school, he became interested in the sciences. There was no time to lose, so he grounded himself thoroughly in mathematics, physics, chemistry, prepared himself for further study in Paris. All this took place in 1 year. When he was 20, 5 years later, Reaumur was admitted to the French Academy of Sciences as a result of his outstanding work in mathematics. But Reaumur's first love, as it turns out, was natural science. Nature. Birds and insects especially fascinated him, and it was that fascination which would eventually indirectly alleviate the fabric shortage of his day. Now, here's the rest of the story. Reaumur's favorite recreation was to hike through the forest. Not only did this afford him the time to ponder certain scientific problems, but it gave him the opportunity to observe nature firsthand. He was out on one of his woodland walks when he discovered the handiwork of a particular insect. Marveling at the substance that it had produced, he took a sample and hurried home to study it. Months went by, and friends began to ask, "Where's Remour?" Well, he was doing a bit of scientific detective work. Finally, in November of the year, he addressed the French Academy. He told them that the linen shortage was a thing of the past, and at last the future was here. And he was right. That was 1719, by the way. Now today, the industry that grew out of Remour's accidental discovery has grown into a $14 billion one. Hardly a single aspect of modern life would be the same without it. And yet, it has little to do with linen. Cloth was used for more than clothes. 2.5 centuries ago, it was used to produce something else that Remour's insects had been making all along. The scientists' forest find was an abandoned wasp's nest. They shared their secret with him, and he with us. For yesterday's man used skin and leaves and rags. Wasps used wood to make paper. And now you know the rest of the story. Now don't forget, tomorrow's story is going to be They Loved Lucy. Now, it's not going to be what you think it's going to be, so you're going to want to listen. Now, on my show tomorrow, I'm going to tell you all about how to protect your assets from creditors and lawsuits, and I'm also going to answer your emails. And Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, is going to be here to talk about new wireless technology. I'm going to continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story, as I mentioned to you already. Please tell all your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. They'll be glad you did, and you'll be glad you did, and gosh, I'll be glad you did too.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.